Welcome to Tavern Talk, a full spoiler, well actually not full spoiler this time, we'll get into that, a spoiler-filled talk show based on the epic fantasy series Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. My name is Ryan, and joining me as always is my brother Dan,
howdy,
Josh Jansen, Lashley Haynes, and Beth Doman, and we are here to give our reactions, reviews, and discuss episode 1 of season 3 Wheel of Time on Amazon. Guys, welcome. Thank you. This is going to be a new thing for us. We're going to have 3 separate shows, and they're going to be different links. So after this, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Everyone jump back on to the next link, and we're going to go through all 3 episodes today. All right, guys, let's just start off with our broad takes on it. Let's maybe give our reviews and then just jump into the episode. We're not going to go sequentially. Let's just go whatever pops in our mind, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Jansen, what score do you give this episode?
I give this from a 0 to a 10.
Yeah.
From a huge fan standpoint from all sides, I give it an 8.
An 8. Okay. Awesome. Do you want to?
Beth, where are you at?
7.
7. All
wow.
right.
Episode 1. We're not talking about other episodes. Episode 1 is a 7.
Episode 1. Yes. I give it a 9.5.
Ooh.
This was my favorite episode to date.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Brother Dan, what's your score?
I think it was lower than that. I think it was 8.9 or something. I think is what I said. I like the pacing of it. I think it paced really well, and it set. I mean, after the first 3, we see the direction everything's going. It's pretty much laid out in front of us. They laid the path out pretty well, and this was a pretty good first episode to do so. I think we see a lot of fun book stuff. We see a 13th depository. We see relics, guys. We see I don't know, weaves.
Close combat channel battles.
In close combat channel battles, we see the Alana taking on Waters, or I'm sorry, her sisters. The cold open was about 17 minutes. Any thoughts on the cold open itself, guys?
I mean, I personally thought the cold open was the best part of the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and so the cold open was actually the first 11 minutes. And then I'd say the 5 to 10 minutes after that were, as far as like an action thing, there was one scene that I liked more, but I thought in general it set a really high bar and a really high standard for the entire season, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. How would you rate it versus all the other cold opens?
It's in my top 5 of all of the episodes of all of the Wheel of Time. Like that first 10 minutes was like is easily in my top 5, maybe even my top 3.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah. Jansen, your thoughts?
I thought that this cold open was probably number 2. Will probably actually go down for everyone as the second best behind the T-Grain one.
Yes.
What I like most, about the cold open, and this is what I like about just about everything that I've been seeing recently, is the amount of storytelling that they're trying to, and the amount of information that they're giving the audience. Now, visually, and as far as what they're saying and what they're doing. There's, when you have someone like Robert Jordan and you know that everything he wrote had a meaning, there was a reason why he put that in the book. I'm starting to see now exactly what Rafe Judkins is doing and all the things that he's putting in the books. As far back as 2 seasons ago, we're starting to see some whys. And in the cold open, we saw a lot of whys. And we also saw some limitations and some things that now people can see now more of what these women can do with the One Power.
Yes.
They used it in many ways in just the cold open, as far as defense, as far as offense, as far as containing someone, as far as just as killing, like everything. They used it in a lot of different ways, and it was really cool. We saw things levitated and thrown. We saw, things stopped from falling. We saw a lot of really good cinematography. We saw some of the things now physically that some of these Aes Sedai can do. Alana pulling a full 360 flip.
Yeah. Over the fireball.
Landing it and then attacking was not something I thought she was able to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then she produced like a magical dagger.
That
Made
was
her hand into
badass. That was not badass. It was badass.
It was
badass.
It was awesome.
And because we had just seen an attack where Alana really didn't do much at all. Mm-hmm. When she was more concerned with the Amerlin, I don't think she put up a shield maybe at one point, but I did not see much battle Aja until she was out on the streets. That's where we meet. You take a line.
Now, we also saw warders being awesome warders.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan and I had no idea how a warder would actually face up against 7 Aes Sedai, and it turns out pretty okay.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how they fought together and with their Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
That was
that's
really
what
cool.
I liked. It was like they were their own little unit. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Any speculation on what Naomi stole besides the bracelet?
Oh yeah.
What do you got?
I mean, you see the stuff in episode 3 clearly on tables.
One of the dream, we know for a fact from the books that one of the dream triangle, they specifically talk about
the disc.
This is the disc, the big as your hand with the third spiral. So we know that
she
that's
also has the dream ring. She also has the ring, the dream ring that Egwene has in the books. She also has that. She has. I mean, they took the balefire rod. There's a bunch of.
And then now they have half of the bracelet.
Now they have half of the domination bands. Yes. Yeah. Although I think for the purposes of the show, they're not going to have 2 bands. I think it's going to be a bracelet and a collar.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're looking for the collar now, but we're getting ahead. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we're getting ahead. Because we don't know we also saw some things in the very first episode. I'm glad we could talk about this now. We saw a red stone doorway with snakes and foxes in the 13th suppository.
Suppository?
Yeah, right up the bat.
Sorry.
13th time.
Yeah.
It's a baker's dozen and butt stuff.
I hope I see that on tape 10 years from now. That's awesome. Suppositor. Wow. Wow. Jesus. Got me all jacked up. No, but we saw the doorway, and we also saw something else. Now I'll have to talk about this later because this happened in episode 3. Now, because we are book readers, a lot of things made a lot more sense to us than it would to someone who was not a book reader. There's so many questions that someone who did not read the books has right now after this first episode. Especially, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did they get here? They tried to do a really good job of saying some of those things to us, especially when Matt, I think he was the first one to say, I've been on a boat or a ship for the last month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now he said that.
He did.
So we know that that's how they got back.
Yeah, I know. That's one of the things I don't like. It's one of the things, pacing issues. I have issues with pacing in this episode is my biggest issue. But when you give me carte blanche or freedom to talk about that, then I will later. So
this is a money-saving filming move.
Yeah.
But
it also doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but they're trying to add things, and
it also does not make sense.
Rand shouldn't be nowhere near there.
But we said a lot of things in the first 2 seasons that didn't make sense Now we're saying,
Very true.
oh, okay. So I believe that they're going to do their best to help us understand some things. I truly think that they're going to.
Yeah.
The gang's all back together, and this may be the last time that they're all hanging out in a pub.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like vacation night. Elaine is out to get trashed.
It's the last night of spring break. That's
Have
what
you
it is.
noticed that there is when they're all no, actually I'll talk about this later. I can't yet. But
Matt's shot and Matt's toast is to seeing double and staying single. I mean, they are there to tear stuff up. Matt wants to get laid. He gets himself a drawing of himself with the horn.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, look at that, baby.
by the way, saying this now, I'm actually starting a poll. In fact, this is a bet. We're going to have to think up a prize, but I want to make a poll of who thinks who's going to have the biggest body count in the Wheel of Time this season.
This season?
Is it going to be Matt? Is it going to be Elaine? Is it going to be Avienda? Is it going to be Rand?
When you say body count, do you mean dead bodies or do you mean people that they have slept with?
Slept.
Okay, I just it's a valid question.
Yes.
It's a valid question.
It is, but it's still a fun. The second one's more fun.
I mean, yeah.
Because I think that they're going to have a lot of people with a lot of body counts.
We've heard Gallant and Gawain this week, guys. It sounded like Pulp Fiction in the basement with the gimp.
Oh my lord!
Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
That's not until a couple
That's
of
a future episode.
I know. We'll get to that.
Episode 1.
But
Episode 1.
yeah, I know. But so we have Moraine and Lanfear working together. Apparently, all Rand's friends around, they both agree that this is the impediment to his growth. He needs to shake that disease and get on being a man. So so Lanfear kind of has carte blanche to do stuff to them. The bubble of evil turns out to be Lanfear.
Well, no. See, we're talking about the show now. There is no bubble of evil in the show.
Correct.
There is no, and this is a major change with the relationship of Moraine and Lanfear. This is a major change from the books to the show, and it was I think, a very, very smart move. Because, I thought about how I was going to talk about all of this. And, the best way to talk about when you're taking a book and turning it into a show is the beginning, the middle, and the end. So the journey is what's the most important. So we know where our book and where our heroes start. We know where they need to get to. Now it's Judkins' job to tell that in a way that is as close to the books as possible, while saving money, while casting enough people, while doing all those things in different locations all over the world. That's not an easy thing to do. It's very, very difficult, and I think that he is doing an admirable job. And what we're seeing now, when we first started in the first 2 seasons, especially us as book readers, has a lot of like, what the hell? Because we didn't see how they were going to get all the way to where they needed to be. We're seeing that now.
So the Moraine working with Lanfear, was one of the things that I had to say when I did my own reaction video to this. I had to say to myself, I have to get conditioned again, where I'm clearly separating book Beth from show Beth, and to have an appreciation. And honestly, I will probably end up liking this episode more as we get the full season and I go back and I do a rewatch. For me, my biggest issues were decisions that were made to bring, like Jansen said, to progress the journey, and it makes sense. Moraine, like allowing Lanfear to kind of help prod the kids along, kind of like makes sense because they previously worked together, kind of sorta, in in Falm, right? Like she got Moraine and Lan to Falm through the ways, and they've established this rapport, so to speak.
Mhm.
I loved everything about the cards, and I loved how, because Matt's struggling, it's an internal mental thing with Matt, so the fact that they kept it internalized for him I thought was brilliant. Perrin with the axe, the symbolism with that broke my heart. It was so good. The axe killed, not that same axe, but Perrin wielding an axe killed his wife. An axe broke his wedding ring. The axe was what propelled him to violence against Jeffrey Bornhold. So I just really thought that was brilliantly done. And then I loved the mirrors with Rand. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was so good. And it makes sense that Lanfear caused all of those things to happen. And then they kind of, because when you look at the books, when Lanfear makes herself known to Rand that she's Lanfear and not Selene in the beginning of the Dragon Reborn, or in the beginning of the Shadow Rising, when he's in Tyr, and he's like, Selene, oh my goodness. And she's like, I'm really not Selene. Hi, I'm Lanfear. How are you? You know, and right after that happens, there's a big, huge battle with Trollocs have invaded the Stone of Tyr, right? And he's like, did you do this? And she's like, I didn't do that. You know, this was not me. And I believe she was telling the truth about that. And that's kind of like paid homage to the Gray Man showing up while she was doing it, because Moraine and Lan were like, Nynaeve got stabbed 11 times. And that shit was brutal, y'all. That shit was like, oh my gosh,
she got wet.
She got shivved. Like,
just like what Leandrin did too.
I'll wet you, bro.
Exactly. So they are taking elements that we've seen and changing it to apply to the story, which I really do appreciate. Again, it's just me having to separate book, Beth.
Well, let me let me ask you about this then, Beth, because this magic that Lanfear has, I don't have quite a grip on. So she's doing way magical things. Like Lan and Moraine were up on the second floor, and they're like, oh, there's Lanfear. Lanfear looks up. They look away for a second, and then jump scare. Oh, there's Lanfear right there. How does that happen?
You didn't even embrace the source.
How is she making these Rand creatures that are actually like causing bruises and stuff? I don't know. I mean, it
could be the true power. It could be the true power, because we know she's had access to it because the saw in her eyes in season 2. We do.
Okay.
But
and remember, in the books, Catherine says that traveling with the true power was different.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we also have to remember is the metaphysics of the way the one power works is different in the show somewhat. I mean, the basics are the same. There's five elements to weave. But I think the metaphysics of it is, I don't think they're going to actually like ever go in to explain that healing uses these and healing. You know what does that make sense? So,
See, I disagree. I think they're going to do that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think that might be getting too much into the minutia. I think that's what they originally tried to do with the shorts, that from season 1 with the animated shorts. But I don't know that they'll ever dive into that in the show, because they have such little time to talk about it. But the only other thing that the only other real critique that I have, and then I'll let you guys expound on how great you think this episode was that I really just had a really big issue. And I have to actually say thank you to Dana Liu and Koala for kind of giving me some more insight on this, because
Yes, we are.
We are full book and show spoilers, Dana Liu, yes. So we did a podcast recording talking about our thoughts of this. And the thing I hated it. I mean, I say I hate it. And this is why this was a 7 for me, was the way Egwene treated Swan. The way she just flat out disrespected Swan, walked all over Swan, was what for me was not I was not okay with it because like Egwene is still a novice in the White Tower, and she's been through shit and she's been through hell and back, but she's still a freaking novice. And Swan Sanche is the Amerlin seat. And Koala and Dana Lu kind of gave me some insight, and they were like, Swan has her back up against a wall right now, and she's desperate. And she is playing her cards. She is a master manipulator. There is nobody who's better at manipulation than Swan Sanche. And she is actually, she wasn't an accepted until she went through. When she was talking to Swan in that inn, she was a novice.
I'll go in one condition. I go through the arches tonight.
I go through the arches tonight. And so my thing is, but they were like, Swan's back is against a wall. She has very limited resources. She knows that she and the White Tower are in trouble. So she is playing her cards the way she has to. So she's letting that happen. That gave me a little bit more appreciation for it. But the whole thing, and then her going through the arches, coming through, taking her ring and just walking away. I hated it. It did not sit well with me at all. And that's why those interactions is why this is a 7 for me and not higher.
No, it's
so
good.
There's
Jesse.
a couple of reasons, and at first I didn't like it the very first time I saw it. And then I thought about it realistically, and there's 4 reasons why she had to do it the way it was done. And the one reason is one of the big things that have changed now from the books to the show are the rules of the White Tower.
Correct.
They're allowed to leave.
Yep.
That's the first thing. The second thing is this. There's no fork root there.
Right.
What are they going to do? They already know she's stronger than them. It's not like they can hold her against her own will.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's more like the establishment of authority. And I understand that Egwene, what she's been through, she's jaded towards the Aes Sedai in general right now. She feels like they tried
to cage Rand already.
Yeah.
They did
and she's very much, they did
a lot to her. And like, if you're allowed to leave, that's one of the things. She was like, okay, I'm not allowed. It was adhered to the rules of being a novice. She was like, I'll come back from you right now if I can go through the arches.
Yeah.
Then I'll still be connected to the White Tower.
Yeah, it was just the way it was, the way she did it that rubbed me wrong. And this is really arrogant and prideful Egwene, who hasn't had her comeuppance yet with the Aiel. So I also have to accept that this is Egwene really headstrong, Egwene thinking that she knows more than she really does, and she's going to get her comeuppance. We know it's coming. We know she's going to have to eat her humble pie, and I'm really looking forward to it because Egwene after humble pie is the best, literally the best.
And she saw herself as the Amerlin in the only vision that we saw. Before we run out of time, let's talk about Matt. Matt is struggling, and this is all from blowing the horn. Is this a symptom that all horn blowers have, where they get these memories that they can't sleep? They can't close their eyes. It sounds like a carnival. It sounds like everyone's on the tilt-a-whirl in their head.
We don't know. That's the best part. But we do know in the books that Matt was struggling right when he was in Tar Valon during this time.
Right.
He was struggling with the fact that he thought that they might have done something to him. And, he's struggling now. And he hasn't and we know that he does eventually accept all the things that happens to him. Yeah. But he's still trying to figure out what the exactly he is right now. He doesn't even know himself.
Right.
And the one thing that bothered me was how everyone in the White Tower now knows that Matt is hearing these voices, and they don't see the significance of it. They just think it's a mental illness. They try and cure it, doesn't work, and then they're like, whatever, peace out. Good luck with you.
He's speaking a different language. It's like if suddenly you just speak Latin and it's like, well, you must have schizophrenia. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Well, you also have to remember that Rima was the one who tried to heal him. Was that episode 2 or episode 1?
That's the second one.
We won't talk about that yet then.
Yeah. But here he opens up to Nynaeve. We get a real open discussion. He is vulnerable. He seems shattered. He's like, help me, Nynaeve. And she's like, I will if I can. I just don't know what to do, but I'm going to try.
I love this so much. This story, this plot point right here with putting Matt with Nynaeve, I thought was really great because they are still struggling to give Matt an identity in this show because of Barney leaving and them having to rewrite the last 2 episodes of season 1. I really feel like, with the exception of a couple moments in season 2, they really struggled on what to do with him. Like they just really didn't know. And I really love that they're trying to build a bond between somebody from the Two Rivers with Matt. That's more than just, oh, we're going to the tavern and we're going to have some drinks. It's a very deep rooted one. It's kind of like it's reminiscent of when Nynaeve tries to tell Rand that she will do whatever she can to protect him in season 1 when they first get to Tar Valon the first time, and she has that conversation with him. It's very reminiscent to me of that, and I think it's a good thing, and I think it makes sense since Matt is going with them. He stays in Tar Valon in episode 1 to continue to build that relationship with Nynaeve, because Nynaeve needs somebody to focus on right now because she's kind of like stuck where she is. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think Donald Flynn is absolutely killing it.
Oh my God.
He's truly so embodying Matt. Every mannerism, the way he walks, the way he sits in a chair.
That dude's neck veins acts better than I do.
So a lot of fans, still to this day, I'm still getting messages. They really, really did not like how I said I think Donald Flynn was a better choice than Barney.
Oh, he absolutely was.
And that's because, and I'll still say this, the book, any Matt Coffin, I don't care if it's the book or the TV, Matt is supposed to swing it on a chandelier, not knock on the door. And that's the guy we got. You know, we have that guy. We have a very dynamic Matt.
Yep, we do, for sure.
And even when he walks out of the room, he does it dynamically.
Hey, Beth, I don't think you heard my joke. Do you know what Donald Finn's favorite sauce is?
What?
Tatar, tatar, tatar.
Oh, Jesus. I was going to say sausage sauce.
Sausage sauce. Sausage.
All right.
Hold on. What is sausage sauce?
That's for me to know and for you to find out.
Tatar, 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 tatar.
But yeah, I like what they're doing with Matt. I like the fact that he's saying old things in the old tongue.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love how they're translating it too.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? So I guess I didn't get resolution. Are we okay with Moraine and Lanfear working together?
Yes, because it drives a plot point, and I think there's ultimately going to be a showdown between the two of them, and it's going to make it more impactful.
And they're going to push each other right through the twisted doorway?
Maybe.
It also takes away something from the books that they don't need that people had called Bubbles of Evil. They felt they have a way to
trying to explain a bubble of evil to somebody who hasn't read the books, that is going to be like it's a miasma that flows across the pattern and no, I don't. I think the way that they're doing that stuff is really smart.
Entire books played everyone anyway.
Yep.
This
guys, somebody wants to say hi.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody wants to say
hi, sweetheart.
Gwen wants to say hello.
We gotta solo that. Hi, Glenn.
Say hello. Say hello. Say hello.
Gorgeous.
She's been all up in my grill today. She's been very loving and very needy today for some reason. Anyway, okay. All right, now you go.
Good.
Earthquake's coming.
No.
This
weather
Bubble of Evil did certainly do what it was intended to do. Everyone is going their separate ways as a result of this. I guess job solved.
Okay, I have one quick question.
We have 1 more minute. I have to say something else. We also saw something else. We saw Greyman.
Yes, and that was what I was going to ask. How do you guys feel? I'm fine with them merging the Agonor kind of creationism thing with another Forsaken with Moghedien is totally fine. How did you feel about that her taking Jaikim Carradine and turning him into a gray man.
Jaikim.
I thought it was great. I mean, visually it was stunning.
I think that was specifically for book readers.
So Jaikim Carradine's not going to end up drowning in brandy, which is fine because he kind of went somewhere else anyway.
But he was a hound of the shadow.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Well, this is my question: are gray men going to be kind of a dime a dozen? It didn't seem that hard to make one.
I don't think so because I think Moghedien's the only one who can do it.
So so we had one killed. I mean, that's getting ahead of us. Did we lose Jacob?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not going to have him anymore.
Okay.
No, he's dead.
As well,
He's gone.
Remember, you had to agree to become one, and she made them agree to become one.
Well, yeah, but under duress.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that's a Guantanamo.
I think largely any of the White Cloak subplots that we've seen throughout the books are going to be not used. So that's probably they used him as homage for as an Easter egg for book fans. I think the main storyline with the White Cloaks is just specifically going to be Dane Bornhold, Eamon Valda, and that's it. I don't think we're going to see. We might get Pedro Nile. We might get. I don't think, but I think largely like Morgase getting captured by the White Cloaks. I don't think any of that's going to happen. It's too much of a subplot.
I think Galad becomes one though.
Oh yeah, I would believe he becomes one, but I don't think
the actor. Because the actor's you guys
absolutely.
He's huge. Like he's expected to be huge. There's no way that they're just casting him for this small part. I can't believe it.
Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see. But all right, so it's still a 7 for me, but I'll warm up. I'm sure I will.
Right on. Well, I've enjoyed this season 1 or this episode 1. We are doing something that is challenging, and we hope that everyone here is on board. So we are going to end this stream, and we are going to jump over to a new stream so we can talk about season 2 specifically for that stream alone. So we hope everyone just follows.
Are you sending new?
Yeah, we'll send that all out to you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And let's continue this journey. Things are looking up for season 3. It seems like they're catching their stride, so to speak. And I'm feeling more and more.
Ooh.
I'll miss you so much. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. What am I going to do without you for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to stare at a picture of Beth for 10 minutes.
I mean, I am cute.
All right, see you on the flip side. Run for your lives. This is the way to leave.
Run to the next stream.